The American Legion Mountaineer Boys State would not be possible without the support and contribution not only of businesses, community members, and other benefactors to the program. This program would not be possible without their financial support. We are very fortunate this year to have had a grant application submitted and approved, and here this morning for a check presentation. If I can have any of our headquarters staff who are upstairs this morning to join at the podium. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Mr. Alex Hines.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. For those of you who haven't met me, I'm the journalism coordinator. I work with the broadcast journalism side of things here on the camp. And I have been a journalist myself, working for a TV station here in Clarksburg for about 14 years now in various capacities. I have been able to come here for 9 years on staff because the station I work at has been very generous in letting me be here to spend the time, work with you all, and appreciates the program. We have staff who were themselves Boys State participants when they were your age, and they recognize the value of this. They've been very kind. We've spoken with my boss and their staff, and the national organization as well. We're all part of the Next Star Media. And in this past year, I asked how we might be able to get some help in making Boys State even better, because of their kindness and their patience has already been very helpful. And one of the things that we were able to do was talk to the Next Star Foundation, and we were able to get a grant to help support the broadcasting program and some of the technological needs throughout Boys State here. So, with that in mind, let me see, Pastor Randall, do you mind? We at Next Star, on behalf of the Next Star Foundation and our news director, Aaron Williams, and our general manager, Jim Dodrell, are very, very happy to be able to announce a donation for the Boys State program from Next Star of $10,000 to go with the program.
We appreciate you tremendously.
Absolutely, absolutely. Alex approached us asking if we could submit a request for a donation. Alex actually asked for $5,000. And so when I spoke to the people at the foundation, I asked, could we double that and do 10? And they graciously said, yes, we will do $10,000 for the organization.
Thank you very much. Provide a comment. As the administrator of the program, I want to extend our sincere thanks. This is the largest single donation that we have ever received in the history of the American Legion Mountaineer Boys State. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. And at this time, I am introducing your Secretary of State-elect, Mr. Michael Niggemeyer.
Thank you. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing our Secretary of State, currently Mac Warner. Secretary Warner was previously in Mountaineers Boys State, and he did graduate from Mountaineers Boys State. After that, Secretary Warner is a graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point and the West Virginia University College of Law. He also holds 2 master's degrees, one in international law from the University of Virginia and one in military law from the Army's Judge Advocate General School. During his 23-year career in the United States Army, Secretary Warner served on 4 continents, deploying to military hotspots around the world while also serving on the staff at the U.S. Army War College. Prior to being elected West Virginia's 30th Secretary of State, Secretary Warner served 5 years with the U.S. State Department in Afghanistan. Since taking his oath of office on January 16, 2017, Secretary Warner has been recognized throughout the country for his innovation in cybersecurity, secure online voting, election preparation, and user-friendly business registration and licensing. In addition to his duties as the state's chief elections officer, Secretary Warner also serves as the state's chief business official. Today in West Virginia, there are more than 143,000 for-profit and non-profit entities licensed to do business in the Mountain State. Under Secretary Warner's leadership, it has never been easier to open a new business in West Virginia. Secretary Warner is a 6th-generation West Virginian. Both he and his wife, Teddy, grew up in the Kanawha Valley. They are the parents of 4 grown children, 2 sons and 2 daughters, all of whom are serving or have served in the United States military. They are also the proud grandparents of 6 grandchildren. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce Secretary of State Mac Warner. Thank you.
52 years ago, I was sitting right where you're sitting today. In fact, I sat right over in there. I want to congratulate all of you for being where you are today, being here in this room. What a tremendous legacy, heritage, and reputation West Virginia's Mountaineer Boys State has. Boys State is all about leadership, friendship, and citizenship. That leadership, somebody has recognized your leadership capabilities or you wouldn't be here today. And so that leadership from a military's perspective always begins with mission. There's always a mission. What is it that you're trying to do? If you don't have a vision, the Bible says where there's no vision, people perish. Okay, you have to have a vision, what it is you're trying to accomplish. And that leadership is then the ability to guide people to achieve, or an organization to achieve whatever that mission is, whatever that goal or objective is for that organization. And so what you have around you are just the finest of America, the finest of West Virginia. This leadership, the American Legion provides for you. All these people in the blue shirts, the cadre, the representatives, the people that are running this organization are all leaders in their own right. So taking advantage of this week of being with them and spend that time, pull them aside if you have a question, if you want to know something about their background. They've gotten to where they've gotten because of their vision, their goal, their objective, their leadership capabilities. I'm going to read to you Schofield's definition of discipline and leadership. Schofield was a Civil War general, same time as Stonewall Jackson, okay, which Jackson's Mill is, of course, named for. And as I do this, I have to pull out my spectacles, and I'm reminded of George Washington when he was called upon the second time to put down the first time was to start a revolution, the second time was to put down a revolution. You see, after winning the revolution in 1783, his officers were ready to rebel against the United States because they weren't getting paid. The soldiers hadn't been paid, and they had been promised pay for life, and they now weren't getting paid as early as 1783. And so up in Newburgh, New York, they got together in a little house and they decided that they were going to do this rebellion and turn down this new country that they had formed because of their lack of fulfillment of the promises of pay. And they called on George Washington. The knock came at 3 o'clock in the morning, and George Washington answered the door, and they said, "We've got to have you come to put down this rebellion." And he said, "Haven't I done enough for my country?" And they said, "We need you one more time." And so he went to the scene, and they were quite amazed to see him there because they were getting ready to revolt against him. And here he is, he walks into the dimly lit room, and he had a statement he had to read. And at the time, he had to pull out his spectacles. And to him, that was a sign of weakness. Glasses were a sign of weakness because his men had never seen him in glasses before. But there he was, and he had to put on his glasses just as I'm doing here. And he said, not only have I grown old and gray in the service of my country, but I've also nearly gone blind. And with that, all of a sudden the tension in the room started to decrease because they were seeing not this steel-backed man they had seen on the horse charging into battle numerous times. You know, one of the Indian chiefs said, I've had over 20 shots at that man. There was no bullet with George Washington's name on it. We couldn't kill him. We had clear shots, and we just couldn't kill him. So he'd clearly been in battle that many times, and they now saw him as an older man, a feeble man, a humble man, putting on his glasses to read the statement. Once he read the statement, they came to terms. They negotiated the soldiers' pay. They got full pay for 5 years rather than half pay for the rest of their lives, and they decided at that point they'd go home, and the Americans stood. But here is Schofield's definition of discipline, all right? The discipline which makes the soldiers of a free country reliable in battle is not gained by harsh or tyrannical treatment. On the contrary, such treatment is far more likely to destroy than to make an army. It is possible to impart instruction and give commands in such a manner and in such a tone of voice to inspire the soldier, no feeling but an intense desire to obey, while the opposite manner and tone of voice cannot fail to excite strong resentment and a desire to disobey. The one mode or the other of dealing with subordinates springs from a corresponding spirit in the breast of the commander. He who feels the respect which is due to others cannot fail to inspire in them the regard for himself, while he who feels and hence manifests disrespect towards others, especially his inferiors, cannot fail to inspire hatred against himself. I love that portion there talking about the spirit in the breast. See, if you want to be a leader, you have to feel it right in here, okay? When you feel it right in here, then you can impart instructions, commands, even tell people to charge to their ultimate death. And they will do so willingly when they believe in that commander, when they believe in that leadership. And folks, that's what I'm seeing right here with you. This is the future leadership of this state and of this nation. You see, right out here among us, no doubt, we have future secretaries of state, governors, county commissioners, mayors, city councilmen, church leaders, deacons. I'm looking at you right here. You're going to be where I am decades from now. And so that's why this is so important. This leadership, this American Legion is teaching you. You see, the mission of the American Legion is to strengthen America. Strengthen America through communities, through families, through education, through that spirit that they feel right here. That's the mission of the American Legion, which they are imparting to you. Take advantage of that this week. So that's the first part of what we're doing here today, this leadership mission. The second is friendship. If nothing else, if you take nothing else from your time here at Boise State than to just form one good friend, it will have been a success. Right now, I am enjoying the friendship of a man named Vinny Viola. We had a common background at West Point. Any of you know who Vinny Viola is? Any hockey fans in here? See a few hands going up. The Panthers right now up 2-0 over the Oilers. Vinny owns the Panthers, all right? If I picked up the phone and called Vinny right now, he'd answer that call. It's because of a friendship, common bonds we had from way back when. Not because, you see, Vinny's a billionaire, okay? I'm not friends with him because he was a billionaire. I'm friends with him because of a bond that we formed years and years ago. Alex Gorski was president of J&J, Johnson & Johnson, formed when we were lieutenants together back at Fort Ord. If I pick up the phone and call him right now. That's the kind of friendship I'm talking about. Form that friendship right now. See, I've got future millionaires out here. I've got future leaders and captains of industry out here We just don't know which ones of you there are. There was nothing outstanding about Vinny or Alex back then. We just were friends because you know what a good friend is? This quote has been out there before. A good friend will come bail you out of jail. A great friend will be sitting next to you behind the bar and say, wasn't that a great experience? Okay, that's a great friend. Form a great friend here, okay? That's what I'm talking about, the friendship. The third thing I wanted to talk to you about is citizenship. And you're hearing that throughout this week. The importance of citizenship. Any of you read Starship Trooper? I see a couple hands. Good for you. And I'm not talking the movie. The movie's horrible. I'm talking the book. It's only about this thick. You can read it in a couple hours. Read Starship Trooper. Now, it's science fiction, and I'm not much of a science fiction guy. But it has some great lessons in there about citizenship. See, Robert Heinlein, the author, draws a distinction between a civilian and a citizen. And what that difference is service above self. When you join the service, when you join an organization and put yourself out there, you see that's what a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, Coast Guard, putting themselves in harm's way for the protection of us, our way of life. All right? Once you have done that, that's what Robert Heinlein says, is service to country, service above self is what turns you into a citizen. Before that, you're just a civilian. Now, in America, that occurs when you're 18 years old. That's when you have the right to vote. And you know who got that for us? For people your age? A senator from West Virginia, Jennings Randolph. Lived in Salem, not far from here at all. All right? And so as Secretary of State, one of the things that I've done is push the legacy of Senator Jennings Randolph through the Jennings Randolph Award. Some of you all are probably already aware of this through your high schools. If you've won that Jennings Randolph Award, we have about 230 high schools in the state of West Virginia. Only about 30 of it achieve the Jennings Randolph Award each year. And what I challenge you to do is to be a part of getting your school the Jennings Randolph Award next year. And the way you do that is you get 85% of your peers, 85% of those eligible to vote, registered to vote. Because see, that's the first step towards citizenship. When you have that right to vote. In Robert Heinlein's Starship Trooper, you didn't get the right to vote until you had served your country. That was that critical step for him. For us, because of the work of Jennings Randolph, all you have to do is turn 18 years old. Then you have the right to vote, but it's incumbent upon you to go register and then to exercise that right to vote. So as we close out here today, Mike Queen is with me, and he is going to pass out cards to tell you about the Jennings Randolph Award. If you get 100% of your class to register to vote, then you get the gold award. If you get the 85%, you get the silver. Now, Jennings Randolph had a saying, if you're old enough for bullets, you're old enough for ballots. It goes right back to this military legacy, of which the American Legion. You see, what I love about the Legion is everybody's equal in the Legion. There's no ranks, the generals to the privates, it doesn't matter. You're just all a veteran. That's what is key to making you eligible to be a member of the American Legion. And so Jennings Randolph said, if you're old enough for bullets, you're old enough for ballots. Those bullets don't know whether you're a general or a private. You put yourself out there, you become a citizen. And so at the age of 18 here in America, we don't force you to go into the service, all right? Now, the legacy is between 1941, Pearl Harbor, that's when Roosevelt dropped the draft age from 21 to 18. And that's what got Jennings Randolph motivated, said, wait, if you're old enough for bullets, you should be old enough for ballots. Old enough to fight, old enough to vote. And so when he got into Congress and started introducing the legislation, it failed over and over and over again. 10 times it failed for 29 years. And in those 29 years between 1942 and 1971, and when it passed, 660,000 people were involuntarily drafted into the service. 220,000 didn't come home alive. 1 in 3 didn't come home alive. That's the price of freedom, all right? That's what the price was paid before America got it and said, yes, people your age, if you're old enough to be sent off to war, you're old enough to vote. And that's what citizenship becomes in America, is once you turn 18, you become eligible to vote, you register. Now we're talking citizenship versus civilian. So don't take it for granted. Don't take that right for granted. Be a part of it, and that's what I love about Boise State, is you have these elections, you start learning about the process, you learn about the legislative process, you learn how rules and laws are made. See, in Robert Heinlein's book, you didn't have the right to tell somebody else what to do until you had put yourself out there. That was his thing. Once you put yourself out there, service above self, now you can make the laws. Now you can tell, now you can collect taxes. Now you can tell people what a speeding limit is. Now you can tell people that they can't drink and drive, that sort of thing. So learn that this week. Make that distinction between being a civilian and being a citizen. If you haven't registered to vote, as soon as you turn 18, you're eligible. In fact, you're eligible to register at 17 if you're going to be 18 before the general election in November. So if you have questions about that, you can see Mike, our new Secretary of State. He can tell you all the rules about voting here at Boise State and in West Virginia. With that, I'd be glad to entertain any questions. I think we probably have a minute or two. If anyone has a question for me, I'd be glad to answer anything that anyone has. Yes, please. Okay, go ahead.
So, as Secretary of State, what are your As Secretary of State, what is like your daily routine? What do you do every day?
It depends on the time of the year. The question is, what do I do every day? It depends on the time of the year. Right now, we're coming up on the end of business registrations, June 30th. By the way, if you have a business, especially the American Legion folks, if you have a business, make sure you have it registered every year by June 30th. So right now, we're looking at that. Of course, last month it was elections, so we were worried about elections. Right now, there are some city and municipal elections that are going on, so we're still watching that. Later on in the year, of course, in November, we'll have the general election. So I've got one of the biggest surprises to me as Secretary of State is the elections, which is I'm known for. I'm the chief elections officer for the state. All right, I only have 5 people in that office. Business and licensing, I have about 25 people. And that's how we keep track of those 143,000 businesses. And so at different times, I'll be down at the business one stop, working with them on business registrations. At other times, I'm working with those election officials. Right now, someone already mentioned, I think, what happened in Mingo County. There's some irregularities that have occurred, it appears. There's been a complaint. And so we have an investigative office that's looking into that. And then the other part where I get the fancy name Secretary of State, I only have 2 people in that office. That is, you'll learn, you guys are going to the Capitol tomorrow, once they pass laws from the House and the Senate, it goes down to the governor and it signs. That's what your civics teacher tells you, that's when it becomes law. It actually isn't. It has to come from the governor's office over to my office. The secretary job is where I basically notarize the governor's signature, say, yes, Jim Justice is the governor, yes, that's his signature, yes, this bill has been properly passed through the House and Senate. When I notarize it, that's when it becomes law. So there's 3 different parts of the job. That's why I love the job. There's never a boring moment, but that's what I do. Thanks for that question. I think we probably have time for one more. Yes, sir, please.
Would you be able to actually call everybody Alex now and you would probably answer? Would you be able to call everybody Alex now and you would answer?
Yeah, Alex Gorski at JJ. During COVID, he was very busy, as you might imagine. In fact, I did call him just a week or 2 ago, and he's given me some tickets to an Army football game earlier. He's got box seats. It's pretty nice, okay? So I'm getting some of his tickets for an Army games. Absolutely, yes. All right. If not, I'll stick around for a little bit if you have any questions. Now, I gave most of you my business card. I did that for a reason. Folks, I've now met you, okay? I don't know you very well, but it would be very easy now for you to pick up a phone and call me, or come down by the Capitol, come by the office. You're going to be applying for colleges. You're going to be applying for jobs. You're going to be looking for, recommendations. Come on down and spend some time with me. Talk to me on the phone. I've had some people in previous Boise States give me a call, talk me through what it is they're going through, want to go. Hey, let me see a show of hands. How many of you plan to go in the military? Wow, that is fantastic. Good job. Good job. If you want to talk to me about the military, I'd be glad to talk to you. You heard I went to West Point. I'd be glad to talk to you about getting into one of the academies. I'd be glad to talk to you about enlistment, what that means, whether you should believe the recruiters or not. No, don't. but we can talk about what's real and what's not real. You've got some veterans all around the room. Be sure to talk to them. Let me see a show of hands. How many Eagle Scouts do I have in here? Fantastic. Hey, how many just Scouts? How many Scouts do I have? Okay. Folks, what we have here in West Virginia is the cream of the crop worldwide. I've been to national jamborees over in Europe, all across, been out to Philmont 3 times. What we have here at the Bechtel Summit is beyond anything else. It blows Philmont away. Take advantage of it, all right, while you're in Scouts. It is fantastic what we have here. How many captains of teams do I have? Football, basketball, wrestling, track. Good stuff. Already leaders, already leaders. That's what I want you to do, taking this experience back and put it to work in your high school on that sports team and student council, band, whatever, extracurricular activities. And folks, if you're looking to get into colleges are looking for more than just grades. They're looking for all that sort of thing. And that's why you're here. So once again, I salute you all for what you all have done in getting here. The cadre, fantastic American Legion. Thank you for what you do. I'll be glad to stick around. Take advantage of that card. Give me a call if you need anything. And come back and see me at the Capitol. Thank you so much for this time this morning.